This morning, we're tackling a topic that impacts people of all ages, whether that's personally or impacting their parents or grandparents. Why estate planning can save your hard-earned money and property. And join us today, our attorneys, Greg McIntyre and Samantha from McIntyre Elder Law. Thank you for being here. And let's start with this too, Greg. What is estate planning for those who don't know?
Okay, it is planning to protect yourself while you're alive, and then planning to protect and pass assets when you pass. As an elder law attorney, we also account for long-term care costs and asset protection.
So what are some of the main risks that we're talking about protecting those assets?
I think that you should consider risks such as what your assets are and the risk of not having a plan for those assets. Also considering and inventorying, your family and who should be receiving those assets. And maybe there's some individuals that you don't want receiving those assets. Those are some risks that you can think about.
So how does estate planning protect you, and how is it set up to protect you from some of those risks?
Sure. Well, say while we're alive, we could appoint agents under powers of attorney to handle our financial affairs, legal affairs, healthcare affairs. We might want to protect our homes with a ladybird deed in case we need a long-term care benefit so that it doesn't get taken when we pass and it stays in our family. We might want to use trust for similar protection, for liability protection, and to avoid probate. So there's many different tools and ways that we can protect assets, both while you're alive and afterwards.
So what happens if you don't have an estate plan?
Well, you're subject to what we call the state's will. So our
state's what?
The state's will.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so the statutes of intestate succession is what our legislature has put in place, and don't worry, they have a plan for your assets if you choose not to take control and direct those assets with tools like ladybird deeds, last will and testaments, and trust.
Also, while you're alive, if you do not have powers of attorneys in place, there's a court proceeding called a guardianship proceeding, where the court is going to determine who is your guardian and who is going to make decisions for you if you become incompetent.
So you do not want the courts making those decisions for you. You want to be incompetent to make those decisions for you. So what are some of the most common misconceptions about estate planning?
I think the cost. I think it's much less costly than people realize. It's much more costly to perhaps jeopardize everything and not plan, especially if you hit a long-term care situation. So I think really the risk is, and the misconception is the cost. Also the maybe taboo about realizing our own mortality. If I do a will or trust, I'm going to realize that, or I'm going to have to face that. I mean, think about fear. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. When I fear something, I really need to run toward that and conquer that. So estate planning is much like that.
So when should you start this estate planning? I mean, there's a lot of life events that, that change the scope of a person's life. So when should you start it?
I mean, once you're 18 years old in North Carolina, you can do an estate plan. So as soon as then, but really, if you have a child, if you get married, if you get divorced and you haven't done an estate plan, or if you have done an estate plan and now you're divorced, you should probably have a new estate plan. Any type of life changes that come up really should, move you to do an estate plan.
And how long does estate plan, should you update this when? How long do you have to update it?
We meet with our clients annually. So we do it every year just to meet with them and answer any questions. And just periodically, there might be changes in the law. We want to keep our clients informed. There's no real set time to update. It's much like having a checkup with your doctor every year to see how things are going. If you've won the lottery, if you've sold property, if somebody's passed away, if you've gotten married. As your life changes, we want your estate plan to change.
Okay, I understand you have a free consultation too?
We do.
Okay.
For your viewers, be glad to offer a free consult with our office and one of our attorneys, and would love to offer that. You can take advantage of that by calling 1-888-999-6600 or schedule directly online at mcelderlaw.com/scheduling.
And you also have a McElder Law book that has 10 rules about estate planning, is that correct?
Yes, we have a workbook where you can work through your estate plan and really understanding what you need.
McElderlaw.com is the website. Indeed, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much.
Please don't wait till it's too late. Call McIntyre